Hi guys, Jester Bell here, and I have something to say. I'm not going to see Eternals. If you guys watched my Halloween video, you'll know that I said I was probably gonna go see it, but I got to the point where I'm just like, I'm not gonna waste my money and sit through it. Now, for those of you who might be new here and are questioning, are you doing this because of the Rotten Tomatoes score? Well, not exactly. Let me explain. I don't really care about Rotten Tomatoes. I learned long ago that it's not a mediator at all for what's a good or bad movie. I think that they go really easy on mainstream movies, on franchise films a lot of the time, which I'll get to that. I don't think that the large majority of the world pays attention to Rotten Tomatoes anymore, actually. I think that Hollywood overestimates how much people care. A niche group of people do care about it. I used to be among them, but the casual moviegoer I know does not care about what Rotten Tomatoes says in terms of judging whether they go see a film. And we see that. We see the Suicide Squad, they really tried to push it with getting 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. People didn't go see the movie. Venom movies, not well received at all, but they make a lot of money. I don't think that the general audiences really care about Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think Rotten Tomatoes has that much of an effect. But to the inner circle of Marvel fans who are paying attention to anything, it is having a bit of an effect considering Rotten Tomatoes is usually, which aggregates mainstream critics largely, they're really being harsh with the film. And before, I'll get back to that in a minute, but let me explain my journey with the Eternals film. I didn't care when it was announced. I don't care about the cast. I don't care about anything. I've seen a lot of movies this year, getting back to going to the theater when my movie theater finally opened up. The Eternals trailer has pretty much played multiple times every time I've gone to the theater. And each time, it's like, I don't care. I don't care about watching this trailer. I feel like I'm falling asleep during the trailer. I haven't paid attention to any of the marketing for this movie. I think I went and I watched the first trailer and then I just did not pay attention. Absolutely nothing in the marketing has made me care about this movie. It's like these are characters from comics that no one cared about in the first place. They're not successful in the least. And unlike Guardians of the Galaxy, there's absolutely nothing that Marvel has seemingly done to change them from what they were in the comics where they were failures and enhance them and make them interesting in any way. I don't there's nothing that makes me care about it in terms of how it connects to the greater Marvel universe, because that's the thing about Marvel is sometimes they'll have a bad movie, but you watch it just because there's a character you like in it or it connects to the greater Marvel universe. Thor the Dark World, bad movie, but at least Loki was really entertaining. Captain Marvel, a lot of people saw it just because of how it connected to the greater Marvel universe. Eternals, the only connection I see is that it makes no sense because these are characters who are supposed to be all powerful and have existed since the beginning of time and did nothing when Thanos wiped out half the universe. I wonder if half the Eternals were wiped out. And then now they're taking action and talking about saving the world. There's no explanation in the history of Marvel, in the history of movies, that is going to get me to believe that that's sensible in any way and get me to like or care about these characters. So, absolutely nothing drawing me to the film in the first place. I was on the fence about going because I have seen so many movies that I go see just to go see. I have a miserable experience where I basically just eat snacks and get rid of my food really fast and then have to just wait through a long slog until it's over. And that's what I expected Eternals to be. And it's like, I do like a lot of actors. Sometimes I see movies just for actors, but I never see movies for actors alone. And that's what they're kind of banking on with this movie, and maybe it will help the box office. It is still projected to do well on its first weekend, but I don't care about the actors alone if they're in a really bad story where there's absolutely nothing entertaining. Then we get to the Rotten Tomatoes score, and it's not affecting me because I see Rotten Tomatoes as the ultimate mediator for anything. I usually just never even care about what Rotten Tomatoes says anymore. What just caught my eye with this one time, is that they usually are pretty positive on Marvel movies, and they're usually, I feel, maybe I'm wrong about this, I feel like they've tried to be a little bit more positive on movies coming out in the theater because they want to encourage people to go. Not all the time, there's exceptions. I could be completely wrong on that. I just feel there's been a lot of manipulation with critics lately with these movies to try to get more people to go see. And they tried to manipulate them this time. They saw that the score wasn't that high in the 70s, so they let more people see it, and then the score just went down. And that's before even more people have seen this movie, and this is the lowest rated Marvel movie. So it doesn't catch my eye because I think Rotten Tomatoes is all knowing. It catches my eye because these critics are usually really positive, and lately they've been really manipulated to give positive reviews to encourage people to go see these movies. And also, people keep saying, oh, they must be criticizing Eternals because of its diversity. And it's like, why would you ever think that? Because critics are the one who are going to be more swayed to give positive reviews because of diversity, because you can't criticize something like that. So if critics are going out of their way to criticize a movie that is a Marvel movie, that is a mainstream movie in the time that theaters are struggling, and that is a movie primarily sold on its diversity, that must mean it's pretty terrible. And I still think that they're going easy on this movie. This movie is like 59 or 57% last I checked. I think that this movie would probably be 20% if critics were honest and trustworthy. I'm just expecting a disaster, and it just got. And I also, people might be mad at me for saying this, but I've also been reading that it is a little bit higher on the content of Marvel movies, and that there's this big love story in it, and there's this, PG-13 sex scene in it, and it's not that like, oh, that I can't go see a movie because it has that. I can't handle that. It's just, I'm thinking, more and more this doesn't feel like Marvel, and it doesn't feel that way it feels that way in a bad way. It's like WandaVision, when it started out, was something that was different from Marvel in a good way, changing it up and making it interesting. This just sounds like it's just forgetting what Marvel even is, and it's boring, and I don't care about the characters, and it doesn't seem to connect to anything, and I just don't want to see this thing. And the final nail in the coffin where I'm like not gonna see this thing is, it's like, they need to know. They need to know if people aren't liking things. And I think that this movie is going to do really well in its first weekend because the Marvel nerds will go see it because they have to see everything. And then it's going to really drop off. That's my prediction. And hey, I was right about the Suicide Squad. But just for me, I have a big thing where I'm tired of paying to see movies and then complaining them out afterwards. It has to get to a point where I'm like, I don't want them to think this is what people want over and over again. How are people at Marvel going to think that they're doing something wrong, or that they need to be more careful about their quality, if people don't say something? And right now it looks like this is going to be another Inhumans project. So there's where I'm at. I'm not going to see Eternals. I don't think it's going to be a big help to me to go see that. I don't think that it's going to really help the channel to go see that and do a review. So I will go see Dune again, maybe, because I really enjoyed that, and I still do want to support my local theater. I just don't want to support the mediocrity of Marvel. I want them to do good. I want them to get better, but they're not going to get better if by just blind praise and just blindly giving my money to each movie. This is the first Marvel movie I haven't gone to see in a long, long time. And if you are angry with me for what I've said here, please refer to my video I've linked in the description. I can make that decision where I decide not to go see something and I decide I don't want to support that. So, but are you guys still going to see Eternals? Let me know what you think of it. And was I right in my judgment or the assessment? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time.